Path of Exile basics, difficulty, and scaling. In Path of Exile, right now, as in closed beta, before Act 3 is released, there are 4 difficulties. They have normal, cruel, ruthless, and merciless. Each difficulty gets harder and harder. The end of Act 2 on normal is the beginning of Act 1 in cruel, so the difficulty scales basically additively. Each area gets a little bit stronger than the next. Mobs are a bit different in that sense, but it does change up a little bit. The scaling comes in many different ways in terms of armor. So if you go to your character sheets and you go to defense, armor I don't think scales too much. Armor scales more of your level. So if I go to normal Act 2, might as well. Same thing as Act 1 in terms of scaling. If I go to normal, my armor should be the same, but my resistances are 75 fire, 75 cold, 75 lightning, which is capped unless I get a certain skill. My armor is the same. That's because armor scales with your level. The higher level you are, the more armor you'd need to get the same percentage as you would need. Because if I had 1,557 armor as level 1, that would be extremely high, but as level 61, it's not as high. But for the resistances, if I take off all my gear, because my gear has some resistances on it, so if I take all of it off, you can see that I still have 60 fire, 30 cold, 30 lightning, with no gear on. That's because I have some passive points, as you can see right here. That gives me 15 to all, plus 15, plus 15, and then another 15 to all. So I basically have 60, 30, 30 for my starting resistances, which is pretty good, but you can get a lot higher. But what you can also, but the thing of the scaling is each difficulty you go into, so right now I'm on normal. If I go into cruel, I should have reduced. I have 20, 10, 10. For each difficulty you go into, if the scaling stays correct, you should lose 20% of your resistances each difficulty you go into. So each difficulty you need more resistances to stay capped. So I'm at 40, 10, 10. If I go to Ruthless, I should be 20, negative 10, negative 10. And I am. So, at the higher difficulties, you're going to need either a lot of resistance nodes, or you're going to need a lot of armor that gives resistances, which mine kind of does. So, when I'm at the highest difficulty of no armor on or no resistances, I'm at 5%, negative 30, negative 30. So, I take 130% more damage from cold and lightning, which is terrible because you'll die almost instantly because this game is really hard to absorb armor. Now if I put my gear on, I don't know what my resistances will be.
I do not know
my headpiece on. Gloves. Ring. Ring. I have all my gear on. I should, I'm at a bit more. I'm at 18, 48, and 22. Not great, but it's doable. As long as you don't get hit, you should be fine. But since when the game is going to be fully out, there's not going to be a fourth act. So my resistances, when the game is released, should be more around this level in terms of resistances, which will be pretty good. 38, 68, 42. Multiple things scale in terms of difficulty selection, how fast the different type of affixes the mobs can get, how many more champs, those kind of things. But those are more of behind the scenes detail, and there's not too much you can go into that. You just kind of got to roll with it and hope the RNG or random number generator is lucky with you. So this is the difficulty and scaling basics for Path of Exile.